You are standing on the deck of a ship somewhere in the Aegean Sea 28 centuries ago. The water stretches to the horizon in every direction. And next to you, a blind old poet is describing it to the crew. And the words he chooses are famous. He does not say the deep blue sea. He says, the wine-dark sea. Wine. Dark. As if the Mediterranean were a cup of red wine spilled across the world. That poet is Homer. His poems are the foundation of Western literature. And all through them, the sea is wine-dark. The sky is bronze. Honey is green. Sheep are violet. And one word never, ever appears. Blue. Not once. Not for the sea. Not for the sky. Thousands of verses describing the most colorful world imaginable. And the word blue simply does not exist. And here is the part that should stop you cold. It is not just Homer. So today's question sounds impossible. Why did the ancient world have no word for blue? Why does it vanish from ancient Greek, ancient Hebrew, ancient Chinese, ancient Indian texts? And the bigger question, the one scientists still argue about. If you have no word for a color, can you even see it? To answer that, we need a Victorian politician with too much free time, a tribe in Namibia, a lab in Boston, and one very strange experiment with colored squares. Let's open the file. First, let's kill the obvious theory. Were ancient people colorblind? Was something wrong with their eyes? No. Human eyes have not changed in tens of thousands of years. The retina your ancestors carried into the Bronze Age is the retina you're using right now. Biologically, a Greek sailor in 800 BC could detect every wavelength of light that you can detect. The hardware was identical. So if the eyes were fine, the mystery gets deeper. Something else was missing, and it took a very unlikely detective to find it. London, 1858. William Gladstone is one of the most powerful politicians in Britain. He will become prime minister 4 times. But his true obsession is not politics. It is Homer. And while rereading the Iliad, he notices something nobody had noticed in 26 centuries. So Gladstone does something gloriously obsessive. He goes through Homer line by line and counts every single color word. Black, about 170 times. White, around 100. Red, 13. Yellow and green, barely a handful. And blue, 0. Not one single use in 28,000 verses. The sea that Homer stared at his whole life. The sky over every battle of the Trojan War. Never once blue. Gladstone's conclusion was radical. Homer, he argued, saw the world mostly in light and dark, the way we see twilight. His colors were quantities of brightness, not hues. Critics laughed. One poet's quirk, they said. Then a German linguist made it much, much worse. The linguist Lazarus Geiger took Gladstone's strange discovery and tested it on the entire ancient world. The Hindu Vedas, hymns that describe the heavens for thousands of lines, dawn after dawn, storm after storm. No blue sky. The Hebrew Bible. No blue. Ancient Chinese texts. Old Icelandic sagas. No blue anywhere. And then Geiger found the pattern that still amazes linguists today. Every language on Earth invents its color words in almost the same order. First, black and white. Then red, the color of blood and fire. Then yellow and green. And last, always last, blue. And this was not just a 19th century hunch. In the 1960s, 2 Berkeley researchers, Brent Berlin and Paul Kay, surveyed languages from every corner of the planet and confirmed it. The color sequence is real. It is one of the strangest universal patterns ever found in human language. Every culture, every continent, the same sequence again and again, which raises the obvious question, why? Why does the human species keep inventing blue last? Look around the natural world and count the things that are truly blue. Blue food? Almost none. Blueberries are actually purple inside. Blue animals? A few rare birds and butterflies. Blue stones you can pick up? Almost nowhere. Nature is astonishingly stingy with blue. But wait, you say, the sky is blue. The sea is blue. They are half of everything you see, except they are not things. You cannot hold the sky. You cannot bring a bucket of blue sea home. In your hands, the water is clear. Sky and sea are light tricks, not objects. And humans name what they can use, trade, make, and touch. Blood red matters. It means injury, danger, ripeness. Green matters, food, poison, spring. But blue? For a hunter or a farmer, there is simply nothing blue to talk about. No blue tool, no blue harvest, no blue dye, so the word never gets invented. And here is the proof, hiding in the one glorious exception. Egypt. Around 4,500 years ago, Egyptian workshops learned to melt sand, copper, and limestone into something the world had never seen, a manufactured blue pigment. Egyptian blue, the first synthetic color in human history. They painted tombs with it. They glazed jewelry with it. They traded it around the Mediterranean like treasure. And guess what else the Egyptians had, almost alone in the ancient world? A word for blue. The moment you can make a color, you need a name for it. The other blue of the ancient world tells the same story. Lapis lazuli, a stone mined in the mountains of Afghanistan, was so rare that it traveled thousands of miles in caravans to be ground into paint for pharaohs and, much later, for the robes of saints. Blue is not a color you saw. It was a treasure you bought. So the timeline of blue is really a timeline of technology. Egyptian blue, lapis lazuli crushed for kings. Indigo dye, woad. Each invention pushed blue deeper into daily life, and language followed. Blue was not discovered. It was manufactured. Which brings us to the question you have been waiting for. If your language has no word for blue, do you actually see it? Not metaphorically, literally. When Homer looked up, what did he experience? This is where the scientists come in. Exhibit 1. Russia. Russian has no single word for blue. It has two mandatory words, goluboy, light blue, and siny, dark blue. To a Russian speaker, those are as different as red and pink. In 2007, researchers at MIT tested what that does to the brain. Russian speakers had a spot which blue square matched another. When the squares crossed the goluboy-siny border, Russians were measurably faster than English speakers. Their language had drawn a line in their brain, and their eyes abated. Exhibit 2. Namibia. The Himba people traditionally use one word, zuzu, that covers dark shades including blue, and many precise words for greens. You may have even seen a famous video about them. A circle of green squares, one blue square, and Himba viewers who supposedly cannot find the blue one at all. Here is the twist inside the twist. That famous demonstration was a dramatization, invented for a television documentary. The real experiments are less cinematic and more interesting. Himba participants can see the blue square. They're just slower at the blue-green border and faster than you at telling apart greens you would swear are identical. So no, the missing word does not make you blind. Your eyes still catch the wavelength. But the category, the little box in your mind labeled blue, that box is built by language. And without the box, blue does not pop out at you. It just dissolves into green or gray or dark. And you do not need to fly to Namibia to feel this. In Japanese, one ancient word, ao, traditionally covered both blue and green. And to this day, Japanese green traffic lights are officially called blue lights. Millions of drivers, every single day, looking at green and saying blue. Nobody is confused. The category is simply drawn differently. Which means we can finally answer the question. Could Homer see blue? Yes. His retina caught the same sky as yours. But did Homer experience a blue sky? Almost certainly not the way you do. To him, the sky was not blue. It was bright, flushed, bronze like a shield. The sea was not blue. It was deep and dark like wine. Because you do not see the world with your eyes alone. You see it with your words. Color categories are not out there in nature. They are a technology invented, refined, and installed in your head by the language you happen to be born into. And that should make you wonder. A Russian sees two colors where you see one blue. A Himba herder sees a dozen greens where you see grass. So the real question was never what Homer was missing. It is this. Right now, all around you, how many colors are you failing to see? The sky has not changed in 3,000 years. We did. One pigment, one word, 1 century at a time, humanity slowly taught itself to see blue, which might be the strangest thought of all. Seeing is something we learned. Tomorrow's file. Forget 3 meals a day. For most of history, ancient humans ate once and thought your eating schedule would be insane. Why did they eat once a day? And why did doctors call breakfast dangerous? Subscribe and find out tomorrow.